Thank you, Shelley, and also Toby. Congratulations to you. I've just met you tonight, but I've known about you and your outstanding performance at the Cleveland Clinic for a long time. So it's a pleasure to have you share the stage with Ken Chenault, who I've known for a long time. And first, you know, as has already been described, the principles of the Deming Cup require, you know, a focus on continuous improvement and operational excellence every day. And we measure our success and we learn from our mistakes, but we persevere and we keep on constantly focusing on what's next. How can we get better? How can we anticipate our consumers' demands and be there before he or she get there and demand it from us? And I think while we all do this, you know, the definition of this Deming Cup is it's never done. The work is never actually done. And so we're constantly trying to improve our results and anticipate what's next and where are we going. And that's why I just think it's so appropriate for Ken Chenault to be receiving this recognition tonight, because I know Ken from many directions, he lives these principles, and he has had, we were talking about this in the cocktail hour, I think he and I are the longest standing CEOs in the history of the world, me 13 and he 14 years as a CEO, which seems like at least 2 lifetimes. And Ken has constantly led his companies with these standards of constantly improving and constantly focusing on innovation. And he and the Amex team, you know, have gone through some very complex changes in consumers and how they, you know, use a card versus use their phone versus clicking or swiping their keystroke. And you know, the business has changed remarkably, and yet Amex has been at the forefront of all of these changes and really led the change for the entire industry. Ken's leadership was obviously required throughout all of those moments when the business was changing. And I know him, you know, as a business partner, and he and his team are constantly coming to us in anticipation of these changes, not waiting for us to call him from Bloomingdale's or from Macy's and say, hey Ken, we're concerned about what's happening, but rather let's anticipate what will happen and let's get in front of this and let's talk about some new ideas. And he's brought some new innovation to us and some new thinking. We've never had a coalition in America where multiple retailers are working together and allowing consumers to buy different products in non-competing retailers, but then to pool their points and to be able to use them as they choose. It's a choice that doesn't exist in America today until Ken and his team brought it to Macy's and other stores to participate. And we're really changing the model here in terms of how to reward and recognize consumers and letting them choose where they want to cash in their points, as opposed to just the individual retail location that they were used to shopping and responding with their point program to. So it's all new and it's all different, and it's an example of getting in front of the curve, taking a risk, trying new things, and being very innovative, as Ken has demonstrated so many times. I also know Ken as a leader in the boardroom. He and I sit on the Procter & Gamble board, and watching him through some very complex issues and challenges over the years there, Ken's his insights, his instincts are just so good and so solid that he commands the respect of his peer group, whether they be a country leader or a fellow CEO. People look to Ken for his sound advice when times become challenging and that advice is required. And I've known him as a civic leader, as co-chair of the New York City Partnership. This is a group, and Ken exemplifies this, who takes off his business hat, takes off his Amex hat, he takes off his personal hat, and comes to the room and comes to the meeting and says, how can we do the right thing for New York City? What do we have to do to make our schools better? What do we have to do to just help this city grow and attract the best people and give them a chance to succeed here? How can we do that? And he does that on a very consistent basis and a very passionate basis, and puts aside what impact that might have on American Express or on him personally, and devotes his selflessness, to what's good for what's good for the city. American Express is 165 years old. Macy's is 157 years old today. That's why I look younger than him. We're 157 years old. He's 165. I could talk all night about Ken Chenault, but I think you'd rather hear from him. So please welcome Ken Chenault to the microphone.